From Lalate headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons Lalate.
It's a big afternoon of afternoons as Lalate with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. Direct from Santa Monica, California, with breaking news today across the land. We'll be starting with, of course, the breaking news out of Ukraine as Russians are now seeing their economy collapse. The U.S. sanctions are now working. With the Russian economy down 30% overnight and falling from the number 11 most powerful economy in the world to number 20 by the end of the week and potentially obsolete by the weekend, like Cuba and also Iran. The Iranian sanctions, the U.S. sanctions against Russia are working, and this is in the face of the latest developing details about your money back at home. We're going to go over the CR for Stimulus 1.0 that is just days away with that incredible deadline just a few days away. That would potentially get you a stimulus check in the continuing resolution. The great news is $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds are still in there, and this is money to get you at least a $2,000 stimulus check. The next item right behind that is the opportunity of Joe Biden to raise your benefits up $200 to $300 a month right away by making a phone call. It's SS300, the creation of this channel. Then, we'll be looking at the Build Back Better Act. That will be front and center. Broadcast media page news once again with the State of the Union coming from Joe Biden in just a few days. That has at least $15,000 to $60,000 of checks in there, and including those MSC, those automatic adult stimulus checks. Joe Biden making again very clear that he wants all these incredible checks, the Build Back Better Act, to go out to you right away, including those adult automatic checks. We'll be looking at the latest breaking details about Brent crude, because Brent crude is still surging after those releases of new barrels to soften the hit of taking Russian and Ukrainian oil out of distribution. The latest details on that. Russian oligarchs are seeing their assets in the United States seized overnight. The latest details on that, plus new great details coming out of Santa Barbara, here in Southern California, as one of the Fed heads says that interest rates are coming higher, but also inflation is not settling down. With inflation not settling down, that means that you would get that SS200 exactly as predicted. All that Joe Biden has to do is make a phone call. We have a lot of major financial, economic breaking news today in this recording about your automatic IRS stimulus checks, about CR for Stimulus, about Build Back Better, about SS300, Brent crude, and the financial issues at hand that impact your wallet, including the price of gasoline at the pump, as the new breaking details coming in by the minute, by the hour, all with you right here, right now. As an exciting afternoon's LA heats up right direct from Santa Monica, California, with global and local news across the land. It all starts right here as Afternoons LA gets underway. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I hope your weather is good where you are. It's heating up in Southern California. You're watching me direct from Santa Monica, California, along the coast. But we're covering everything all the way over to Ukraine in today's recording. And, of course, your money in your wallet coming out of D.C. We have a lot coming up. This is LA, the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America, broadcast, cable, and internet. In today's recording, we're going to go over all the breaking details about that CR for Stimulus. The opportunity to put a $2,000 stimulus check in a continuing resolution that is just days away. And that is huge news with $1.5 trillion of discretionary spending lined up. It's all lined up. So is there anything that could go offline? I'll have the latest details on that today. Then we'll be looking at the incredible Build Back Better Act still on hand. And you're going to see this front and center. With what? The State of the Union from Joe Biden in just a few days. It's going to be front page news once again. That includes those MSC checks. Then, of course, we'll be looking at SS300. This could be done no less than a few days away. All he has to do is make a phone call. And we have breaking news about this as one of the Fed heads spoke overnight about where he thinks inflation is right now, where it's coming thereafter. We have the FOMC meeting coming just days from now that'll signal where interest rates will be spiking, and we have new details about the price of gasoline as the Federal Reserve and the United States and world countries come together and figure out how to keep gasoline in touch and intact at normalized prices amidst the concern of what's happening in Ukraine and Russia, which I will have in this video as well. We have a lot of breaking news about your money and about your benefits. You're all watching it right here, but first I want you to subscribe. You're watching the #3 most watched financial news channel in America, and you need to bring your friends and family to come on over and watch it. The most comprehensive financial news you're going to see in the United States. Cable, internet, and television. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes. New videos all throughout the day, live taped across the board. Watch the programming schedule so you don't miss a video, and sign up for those LA alerts, which sends you an alert when a new video goes live. Let's go right into Build Back Better Act. That's the fourth stimulus recon, the one that has the biggest payout at checks, $15,000 to $60,000 of checks, and it's front and page. It's not back page news, folks. In a universe in which there's a lot of world events happening, understand that it's front page news, and you're going to see it front page news in just a few days. Again, why? Because the State of the Union address is going to be delivered by Joseph Biden and indicating he's going to get it done. He will get it done, guarantee you. It has at least $15,000 of checks, but upwards of $60,000, 3 clusters and 3 add-ons. You need to know those checks right now because it's first come, first serve, and that's what you do as a Purple Hawk. A viewer of this channel, you pounce to get the money before anyone else. 3 clusters, 3 add-ons. Let's go over each of them, starting right now. Cluster number 1, hazard pay. Got in there one more year under third stimulus, expanded, doing again under fourth stimulus. That's for my earned income tax credit for my essential workers. $4,000 of elder care, got it in there. $4,000 of care for young children, got it in there. The CTC, the child tax credit from third stimulus, broadened one more year. Yes, $3,600. That is great. $550 check for my college students. They got in there. That Pell Grant. Then they got in there, weatherize your home, the incredible money to repair your home if you live in a low-income community. And of course, they got in there all those incredible other checks that are so exciting. But one of the first add-ons is the one that makes most viewers of this channel so excited. It comes from Southern California, from Maxine Waters, our legislator here in Southern California. She got it in there. And what is it? This first add-on is, money to buy your first home. Yeah, you heard me right. At the time of escrow, the federal government will give you money or give the seller money in your name for the purchase of your first home. It is huge. And that is absolutely astronomical. It's a little bit less than $25,000. It got in there. It is the first of 3 add-ons and checks. Now let's go to the second cluster of checks, and it gets even better. In the second cluster, they got in there home repairs and paid leave. Home repairs is to weatherize your home, and paid leave is to take off from work due to sickness or illness. And how much is paid leave? It's a lot of money, folks. It's a lot of money. And it's a lot more money if the singing was really bad by Mitch McConnell and it hurt your ears even more than you thought, the doctor said. So how much are you going to get? $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. $35,000 annual salary if you make you would get $800 a week. And if you make $15,000 annual salary, $400 a week. Just show up to work next time with earplugs, please. It just saves on the medical bills. How many weeks? 4 to 6 weeks per year, and there you go. $4,000 to $6,000, W-2, 1099. You all get it. And if you don't work, but your son or daughter does work, and they have to take off of work because guess what? Their employer starts singing lobster songs. Then, no, they're going to get money for the household as well. And there you go. That is the incredible paid leave. Now, what is the second add-on of checks? Wow, this one comes as a Joe Biden campaign promise for president. It's shocking. It's not law yet. It's shocking it wasn't law before he ran for president, but they got it in there via Bob Casey. Thank goodness. Can you imagine if you're a senior, a person on disabilities, you do not have home health care coverage? What? Excuse me? Yeah, you don't. And so they got this incredible provision in there. It's a little bit less than $250 billion, but thank goodness they got that incredible provision in there for free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. Now let's turn to that third cluster checks in Build Back Better, the fourth stimulus recon. Deliciousness. Spelled with an H. Deliciousness. Seniors and free internet. In this third cluster, they got free school meals for all. Checks. Free internet. Checks. There's currently free internet under second stimulus. Need that help? Reach out to the volunteers on the community page coming up in just a second. They also got in there the farmers checks, the independent contractors checks, and then the free school meals for all checks. The seniors really doing well in this third clustering. You know why? They got 2 checks on the House, and they got 3 more coming from the Senate. On the House side, they got the hearing checks and the Medicaid gap fix checks. More about that in a second. And then the Senate side, they got the dental, the vision, and the lowering the eligibility age of Medicare from 65 as low as 55, which is part of the course when we're talking about adding checks to this recon. Because when we're talking about adding checks to this recon, what other checks do those senators want to add in there? You know what it is. It is MSC. No, not monthly sugar-free chocolate cake recipes. No, that is monthly stimulus checks, IRS. How much do you get? Where do you get? What's at issue? What's going on? Let's go over all the incredible details. This is an add-on to Build Back Better Act, which we're at right now, the fourth stimulus recon. And the concept is to add more checks. These are a program of checks that come out from IRS to you, adult, automatic stimulus checks. Joe Biden wants all these checks and all the other checks to go out right away. He says he's ready to send them out. Now, Build Back Better Act has already in there lots of checks. $30, $40, $50, $60,000 of checks. These are checks on top of that you would get as well. Low income, middle class, you qualify for this money. Single, seniors, SSI, SSDI, you qualify. Who gets these MSCs in addition to these other checks I've been covering in this video? Let's go over the details of them right now. Legislators represent that the eligibility would be the same as about the third stimulus check. Say, take notes, because here your eligibility is coming up. Single individual, $75,000 less, you get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you get it. Double it, because there's 2 of you. Family of 4, there's 4 of you. Here they are. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, rural benefits, you get it as well. It's not income. It's not taxable. It's not sugar-free. It's low carb, and it's offered nationwide. It's not just in California. For people who says it's just California, no, we have the surfboard stimulus. Thank you, and it's electric. And then for that one viewer who said, my fiance says you got to pay it back. You got to pay a stimulus check back. No, but you can return the engagement ring, honey. You're within the 30-day return policy. I checked on it. Reach out to the Encounter Group, Lalate, because we'll help hook you up with someone who knows their stimulus a little bit better than that guy. Let's go into where they add this money into the MSC, and this tees us up for CR for Stimulus, the latest breaking details on 1, 2, 3, and 4.0 versions of CR for Stimulus. It's all incredible great news today. What we're going to look at is right now is how they added in there. And they added in on the Senate side, the Senate vote. And people overnight were saying, hey, Allied, have they voted yet? Do they have a vote date? They do not have a vote date. So the way they would add it in is on the Senate side. During the Senate subcommittee, send it to the Senate subcommittee, modify the legislation, put it to a bill vote on the Senate floor, add provisions in there, including these, and then have a 2-day vote-a-rama. People are asking in the live chat overnight, do we have a Senate vote date? We don't have a Senate vote date. So that doesn't mean it's not happening. I want you to make this very clear. The fact that there is no Senate vote date doesn't mean it's going to not be happening. But what you are going to be hearing in the next few days is a Senate vote date. Why? Because Joseph Biden's going to have the State of the Union address, and he's not going to just talk about foreign policy. He's the president of the United States. Foreign presidents do foreign policy and domestic policy. Domestic policy is your money. So he's going to be talking about things like, we're going to be calling a vote on the Build Back Better Act, and we're going to pass it. I can write the speech for him right now. You know exactly that's what he's going to say. And it's going to happen. It will happen. Trust me, it's going to happen. So understand that you may not hear it front page news today. It will be front page news this week. Now, is there an opportunity to get us money before then? There is. And this is not involving the State of the Union address. It is what we call CR for stimulus. If you're in the live chat right now, write the hashtag campaign. The concept, the deadline, the elements, the speed of which it can get done, and the great news of where it is right now, I'm going to go over right now. CR for stimulus, the concept is very simply, to put a single stimulus check for you in a different piece of legislation other than what we were just talking about, the Build Back Better Act, the fourth stimulus recon. It's called a continuing resolution, a CR. What is it for? It's a bill to fund the federal government. It's done every 3 to 6 months. I've covered 4 of them, I think, on this channel since this channel's been around. They got to do every 3 to 6 months to fund the federal government, and inserting a check in there makes sense because It's not a package like the Fourth Stimulus Recon, thousands of pages length. Has an inherent deadline. They won't roll it over several months. They'll roll it over a few days, a few weeks, maybe a month. Has bipartisan support, gets done. So you start a stimulus check, you're done. Why do we know this? Because we made history with this 2 years ago. In 2020, we had gotten a first stimulus check and we used it up and we needed more money. And we sat around and we were told that there was a second stimulus package in the works. 11 months of negotiations went on, nothing paid us anything. And I said, can't do this. I have to find something else. So I found something and I created the concept on this channel. I created the entire concept on this channel called CR for Stimulus. Amidst second stimulus not going anywhere, I said, let's put a stimulus check into the December 2020 continuing resolution. It was right around the corner. We had the midterm elections. We had the elections just done, but they had the Georgia Senate seats up for grabs. And I said, let's insert a check in there. Bipartisan support, inherent deadline, quick, fast. And guess what? People thought I was crazy. Doesn't belong in there. It's a bill to fund the federal government. Our checks don't belong in there. I advocated for it. I made the creation, CR for Stimulus. And you, the viewership of this channel, Purple Power, should forever remember that you are part of history. You, Purple Power, the community of this channel, were part of history because you, with me, made this law. If it wasn't for me, if it wasn't for you, millions of Americans would have never gotten a $600 stimulus check in December 2020. Because guess what? It didn't come out from second stimulus. Second stimulus fell apart. Second stimulus fell apart. Never had a bill, never had a vote, never paid anyone a penny. Thank goodness for CR for Stimulus. So 5 weeks ago on camera on Saturday morning, I said, you want me to bring it back? I didn't even have to say what the it was. And viewers said, yes, of course I want you to bring it back. And it's back on, baby. CR for Stimulus 2022 edition is exactly like the 2020 version. This time, the CR is teed up for early March. The inherent deadline is there. Good. Also good. $1.5 trillion of discretionary spending has been allocated in that CR to be at the discretion of the U.S. cabinet members under Joseph Biden. Oh, that's a lot in one sentence, and it's all great. Let's digest that. First, $1.5 trillion. That's a lot. That's at least a $2,000 stimulus check for you. And that's not the total value of the CR. That's just part of the CR. Number two, discretionary funds, meaning that the discretion of the use of the funds is at the hands of Joseph Biden's cabinet, which includes this person, Janet Yellen, head of Treasury, that oversees IRS. Boy, it's looking perfect. Bipartisan negotiation? Yes, this is the result of bipartisan negotiations. It's a deal. It's a bill. It's very small. It's just a few days away. Can anything go off the rails? Well, not yet, because late last week we saw the White House trying to take some of the money for COVID. Not happening. Stopped by Patrick Leahy, the senator from Vermont, Democrat. And the restaurant union was trying to take some of the money as well. Did not happen. We haven't heard from the airlines. So let's just tell them not to watch this channel for another few weeks. So far, everything is going well. Could anything else change? I have the latest details on what's happening with CR for Stimulus 1.0 after the commercial break. Then, CR for Stimulus 2 and 3.0. We'll be looking at the economic relief packages that have been sent out of the House to the Senate and are being merged in the Senate. All great news. It's coming up in the second half of this video. But the next item that's likely the fastest horizon right behind that is SS300. I have breaking news on the second half of today's video about where inflation is going, because this is important for your SS300. The concept of SS300 is replace COLA with inflation via a telephone call from Joseph Biden to his head of Social Security Administration. That immediately would give you $200 more per month, starting right away, and then $100 later this year. This is great news, and the news got even stronger in the last few hours. I have the latest news about where that inflationary rate is right now, based upon a head from the Fed. We'll be looking at the FOMC meeting coming up just a few days from now, and what the FOMC is looking at in the inflationary true number, the inflationary gauge number, and the Brent crude number that came in this morning. All breaking news across the land. Then, we'll be looking back at the situation that impacts your wallet, the price of gasoline at the pump, the situation on Ukraine and Russia unfolding by the minute, all the latest from the battleground of what it means with you financially. It's brand new breaking details as Russia's economy is falling off the map. The central bank is collapsing. The economy is crumbling. In a week's time, it could fall into the state of a Cuba or Iran. It is literally in free fall. Why? The sanctions from around the world are working like you never could have imagined. Then guess what? We also have the incredible opportunity for you to get $10,000 by the end of this video. Viewers are cleaning up with third stimulus. I told you to stay to the very end. It's coming up later in this video. How viewers can getting thousands of dollars. I'm going to show you how to get that big money. It's coming up in the second half of this video. We got a big show today with a lot of breaking news in a week in which you cannot miss a single recording because there is so much going on financially about your wallet. See you back as LA continues. Afternoons LA in just 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LA Late Daily for the excitement of the new LA Late live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LA Late at 9 a.m. Home LA Late returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LA Late at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA Late. And the excitement continues right now. Direct from Santa Monica, California, as Afternoons LA goes into its big second half, we're going to go right into the CR for Stimulus 1.0. That is just a few days away. This is a continuing resolution. The budget bill for the federal government, it's just a few days away, and the opportunity to insert a stimulus check is there. I'll go over the breaking details. It's all really good. We'll be looking at CR for Stimulus 2 and 3.0 really quickly, and then we'll zoom into SS 300 because guess what? This is the way to raise your benefits a lifetime and based upon inflation. We'll be looking at SS 400 and the situation on the battleground in Ukraine as the Russian economy is imploding overnight. This is great news for you, but we'll be looking at the price of gasoline at the pump and how it's being impacted by new measures back in the States that help your pressure on your bills by the minute. It's all great news. It's coming up in the second half of this video. And then, of course, we'll be looking at how to get you big sums of money. It's thousands of dollars. You should be getting it. It's all yours. I'm excited you're here, but first I want you part of this incredible family. You're watching LA Late, the #3 most watched financial news channel in America, with a breadth of coverage you're not going to see anywhere across the states. From cable, internet, or broadcast, subscribe, like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP to get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday that's paying people out a lot of money. They're getting upwards of $45,000 from the incredible sums of money from third stimulus. Let's go right into where we left off with the continuing resolution. The continuing resolution has an inherent deadline of early March. They're staying at that deadline right now. $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds staying there as well. The discretion at the hands of the cabinet members. Wow. This is all good, folks. Bipartisan support, yes. What can go off the rails? Nothing at the moment. There's enough for a $2,000 stimulus check in there. But the only thing that could potentially go wrong is someone coming in and saying, hi, I want to spend all the money on a lobster fest. No, it's not his discretion. It's a cabinet member's discretion. They don't like lobsters that much. But even so, you don't want Joe Biden to come in and build a park with the money or something like that. So you need to advocate to those senators. And they are the same ones that are in this loop, including Leahy. You want to say, very simply, you got a continuing resolution. It's early March. You're going to get it done. You got the $1.5 trillion negotiated, Republican and Democrat. It's included. It's discretionary. Send a darn stimulus check out at $2,000 from the discretionary funds and the continuing resolution. It's as simple as that. Where do you advocate to? You want to advocate to by picking up the phone and calling their senator's offices right now. We are about just a few days away from this really becoming a tight crunch. So you want to really advocate. You're doing a great job on social media. Keep up the pressure, like Princess with her beautiful emojis, and Debbie and all the incredible other people with great tweets across the land. Keep the pressure on. Now, you can also keep it professional, but also realistic. Why does this look like December 2020? In December 2020, they understood that there was 2 Georgia Senate seats that were up for grabs that would determine the future of the position of the Senate, Republican or Democrat. Well, we're right at the midterm elections, folks, so they need to get you a check. And guess what? You got to be frank with them. You've been waiting for a check from Build Back Better Act from 11 months, and they haven't delivered it or any other checks. So they want your support. Give us a darn check, senators. Give us a darn check. We've waited 11 months. You haven't paid us a penny from Build Back Better. And I know it'll be front and center at the State of the Union address, but give us a check right now going into the State of the Union address, and then say that there's more checks coming back thereafter. Doesn't that sound better? It does sound better. Let's go then into CR for Stimulus 2 and 3.0. Economic pieces of legislation. Ironically, the House Democrats agree exactly with me and you, which is Build Back Better Act will get done. It's taking time. We need other pieces of economic legislation to pay us money right now. So they passed one just a few days ago. It's CR for Stimulus 2.0, sent to the Senate, and now the Senate Republicans say they have their version 3.0. This is my numbering system on this channel. Todd Young, the Republican in the Senate, says we're going to merge them together. Why such a element of bipartisan support to get economic legislation out? Because of that I word, inflation. It's hitting you bad. And guess what? Both political parties understand they have to deal with it now. They can't just blame the other party. And they got to give you money. So that's the situation across the land. Let's jump right into where we are on SS 300, which is getting really interesting with a lot of breaking news across the land on it right now. And this tees us up for the FOMC meeting. Federal Reserve. This is the guy, Jay Powell. He's head of the Federal Reserve. He's having the first of 5 Federal Reserve meetings of this year called FOMC, starting in just a few days. And they will determine whether we have 5 interest rate spikes in 5 meetings or 7 interest rate spikes. Will they be quarter basis point or will they be half basis point? And the issue at hand is inflation, which Joe Biden is trying to do some things with, but can't do everything with because he only has a limited authority of what he can do with it. Well, one of the things he can do with it is SS 300. What is SS 300? It's the concept of raising your benefits up $300 more per month. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, Veterans benefits, and all it needs is a phone call. First, we're going to go over what it is. Then we're going to go over how much money it is. We're going to go over the breaking news about it, brand new today. And then we're going to go over how he gets it done. What is SS 300? It's an acronym I created to describe a campaign promise from Elizabeth Warren in January 2020, where she said she was going to give you an additional $200, not $300, but $200 more per month for only 6 to 12 months on top of your existing benefits. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, and remove the income cap, marriage penalty, and asset cap by act of Congress. She ultimately withdrew from her run for president. Joe Biden says, I like Liz's policies. I'm going to adopt them as my own. He did. And then he ran on that platform, won the general election. And guess what? After he won the general election, he published at joebiden.com his transition papers into becoming president and wrote the following words. You need this $200 more per month right now if you're on benefits because you're really hurting. That, my friends, was December 2020. Now, as we look across the land, 12% inflation that you didn't have then, so you need this money. Throughout 2021, I detailed that the Democratic senators said, what happened here? He didn't take care of this after he came into the office. So for 11 months, they talked about this stimulus, another piece of legislation to get it done. I covered as well. And I covered the importance of doing it right away because we would swap out COLA with inflation. Let's go over the concept of how this works. It's very simple to follow. Your benefits are determined based upon a benchmark looked at every year in December. That benchmark is COLA, cost of living adjustment. It doesn't work because it doesn't move. It's always flat, even as milk, egg, and gasoline goes up. That's why Liz, then Joe, said replace it with inflation. Inflation always goes up. So the concept is replace COLA with inflation. All that Joe Biden needs to do is do it right now. 3 weeks ago, I delivered on air the opportunity for Joe Biden to realize that we don't need the full SS 200 program for now. Just make a phone call, and this is what would happen. If he made a phone call to the Social Security Administrator head today and replaced COLA with inflation, immediately your benefits would go up $200 a month starting right now. Then in December, they go up another $100. Why do we know that? And what is the breaking news about it that came in overnight? Oh boy, is it a lot. The breaking news that came in overnight is that my analysis of where inflation is right now and where it's going in the next few months is dead on accurate once again. Inflation right now is somewhere hovering in a true January 2022 number, which we're waiting to see, at about 8%. February's number is likely also at about 8%. We won't see that till March. How do we know this? What are we looking for? And what's the breaking news? We're looking at the true inflationary number, which was released a month after it comes out. And if we take it back a few months, in spring of last year, the Federal Reserve said that in December 2021, the inflationary number would be 1 to 2% and transitory, temporary, and coming back down. That's a fancy word for temporary. I said no. Wall Street said 2 to 3%, temporary, coming back down, transitory. I said no. I said 8% December and not coming down, staying up high for several months. It came in at 7.5%, the true inflationary number, when released a month later by the Department of Labor in January. We're waiting for the January number coming out in February, just a few days from now. By the time in which we're waiting, we're also looking at inflationary gauge numbers, which are numbers around inflation, not the true inflationary numbers, and analysis reports. And one guy yesterday, folks, said exactly what I said. It ain't going down. And it ain't just a Wall Street analyst that works in a brokerage firm. No, this is a biggie. This is Fed Reserve Governor Christopher Waller. In statements in Santa Barbara, California over the weekend, he says that I expect inflation to remain elevated, meaning it's staying high. It's not going down. And will only show mild signs of deceleration, going down, over the next few months thereafter. There we go. Ding, ding, ding. Now, this comes as he makes those statements right after the Fed got its numbers that it heavily relies upon for its inflationary projections on Friday. And that number came at the highest number since 1983, out of control. Led by food and energy prices spiking 6.1%, the highest rise since 1982. Inflation locally is 12% in Florida, 12% in California, so it's really high. This is before we see the true inflationary number. Now, I trained you last month to do inflation yourself. You go into the supermarket, you buy the same pack of eggs, the same brand, the same market every week. Is it going up 10 cents, 12 cents? You can see inflation before I tell it to you. So we also have the producer price index number coming in really high, 11%. So we have really bad numbers. This is why Joe Biden needs to pick up the phone and do the following. Replace COLA with inflation. You do it now when inflation is at its highest point before it goes back down. Because right now, where inflation is right now, you understand it's high. You don't do it after it goes down. You do it right now, because once your benefits go up based upon inflation, they don't go down. It's simple math, folks. Make the phone call, Joe. Make it right now. So how does he do this? Social Security Administrator determines how to do things itself. Does not need an act of Congress. Does not need executive order. Just needs a little bit of a croissant and a coffee chat. Hey, it's Joe. How you been? How's the soccer team doing? Yeah, I like your casserole recipe. By the way, replace COLA with inflation. See you Sunday. Okay, that's all he has to do. And suddenly your benefits will go up $200 a month. It's so simple. It makes no sense not to do it in the face of where the economy is going right now. All right, so that is the first element of big news. The other element of big news is dealing with the price of gasoline at the pump. Now, this is a second number along with the FOMC numbers that I want you to understand. In that FOMC situation, which I was just going over a second ago, The Federal Reserve is trying to gauge where inflation is, just like how I am for your benefits. We have 5 meetings of the Federal Reserve coming up, 1 per month for the rest of the year. What are the odds? The odds at the moment are looking at 5 interest rate spikes in 5 meetings. Some analysts saying 7 interest rate spikes in 5 meetings. Breathe, that's a lot. Then some analysts thought there was going to be a half basis point increase at this one coming up in a few days until the Ukraine-Russia situation happened. Now most people think it's going to be a quarter. I think it's going to be a quarter as well. Breathe. It's a lot. It's a lot to digest because that could really cause a big issue. But the bigger issue that you see lifetime right in front of you, right down the street, right at the supermarket, right at the corner is the price of gasoline at the pump. And this is one of those numbers that I'm teaching you and training you on this channel. It's called the price of gasoline per barrel, Brent crude. And the number is so critical to the existence of your financial stability, the United States stability, financial stability, and the economies of the world, that is why it's front and center on this channel right now. Because of what? Yes, Russia. This is what's happening. Russia is a major supplier of gasoline around the world to world economies all across the land, more so overseas than even here. Also, Ukraine. What happens is that as soon as Russia invaded Ukraine, its gasoline was halted from distribution to world economies. Okay, so what does that mean? The way gasoline works is if there's less gasoline, it can go up the price. So if we don't have 100 barrels, we only have 4 barrels, the price goes up. So immediately the White House had 3 great moves. First, it released some of its stockpiled reservists. They're in the storage room behind the lobster shorts. That's why you never see them. Release some of them. Then, so we're going to criminally prosecute any U.S. companies that try to price gouge us. Good. Trying to ramp up the negotiations with Iran for nuclear agreements so that Iranian oil will be released back into our system. That would be millions of barrels. That's a few weeks away. But the breaking news overnight is that the United States got other countries to release some of their strategic reserves as well. You need this. I'll explain to you why this is brand new today as well. He got, the White House, Joe Biden, got China, India, Japan, South Korea, and the UK to release their stockpiles of barrels to bring the prices down. We're actively working with countries around the world to evaluate the collective release of strategic petroleum reserves from major energy-producing countries. And the United States will release additional barrels of oil as warranted, says Joe Biden in a new comment. What are we looking at? Let's know numbers. Here's numbers. I want to teach you the numbers. The price of a barrel of gasoline went up as high as about 105 the day that Russia invaded Ukraine. Then the White House released our reserves, brought it down to 94. Good. Then it went back up to 100. It's been hovering about 100 for a few days. Analysts now believe that if we hover at 100, we can sustain it for 6 months if inflation does not get higher. It's not going to get higher. So we know that based upon the analysis I said. We can't have it go to 120 a barrel, 135 a barrel because our economy will collapse. This is very serious, folks. The most serious subject I could ever deliver to you on this channel. Recession, unemployment, stagflation, everything you don't want to hear would happen. This is why gasoline is such a big, important subject on this channel. I can't say, hey, $14 stimulus check. Here's $14 stimulus check, and then suddenly your gasoline is $35 a gallon at the pump. It's myopic. I have to tell you the whole subject. We have to get gasoline fixed because otherwise, who cares about a $600 stimulus check or $2,000 stimulus check? It will be eaten up by gasoline. It doesn't work. So we have to have the whole subject matter covered on this channel. Now, here is the other issue, is that I want to make this very clear. It's a little complicated, is that other countries overseas, they are more dependent on Russian oil than we are. And so this is very big news that these countries like India and Japan are releasing their oil so that these other countries like Italy that are very dependent upon Russian oil can get theirs as well. Great news across the board. Now, this is also breaking news, which is brand new from what you would have heard over the weekend on this channel. The brand new news is that the word sanctions, when you hear it, may sound sort of weak and vague and not clear. Folks, it is destroying Russia. The breaking news right now is that Russia's economy is getting destroyed by the United States and the Western allies by these sanctions. How is it getting destroyed? Russia's government, as all governments now, are very modernized. We all communicate electronically with electric funds and transferring funds and central banks. The Russian central bank is now collapsing at the time of this recording. The price of its currency has plummeted 30% overnight. Russia started last weekend as a number 11 largest economy in the globe. By the end of today's recording, it could be number 12. By the end of the middle of this week, it may be number 15. And by the end of this week, it may be out of the top 20. If it goes beyond the end of this week, it may be desecrated and become the next Cuba or Iran. It's literally that fast. You can literally cut off all flows in and out of funds into a country and destroy an economy. If it sounds like a sci-fi movie you saw in a movie theater, it's the reality of the situation. This is not the 1920s. You can destroy an economy in seconds as Western allies by cutting out inflows and outflows. It's not just SWIFT. SWIFT was one of the major achievements that was finally championed over the weekend. I was very critical about it for several days. And let me explain what SWIFT is. SWIFT is the way in which you send funds in and out internationally, monetized in US dollars. The issue is several countries were not coming to the table. And finally, they got an agreement to kick Russia out of SWIFT. What does this mean? It means you cannot transfer funds into Russia or get the funds out of Russia. It means Russia can't finance things overseas, cannot run military operations overseas, and also the oligarchs can't get their money out. More about them in a second. The great news about that is that it now got the complete allegiance of all the countries after they were holding out on it initially. The statement was led by Germany, which has been very good on this one actually, said that it got the United States, France, Canada, Italy, which was a holdout initially, and Great Britain to stop SWIFT. Now, let me be very clear, because this is hyper-technical, but I want to cover it. You're going to see Boris Johnson, the UK Prime Minister, saying that complete SWIFT ban is also happening. There's not a complete SWIFT ban. Let me explain that. You have to have people get out of Russia. And so a lot of U.S. companies have sold all Russian holdings in the last few hours of today's recordings to get out of Russia. So they have to close out their accounts. So it's not a complete closure because they're allowing us to get out of there. So they're allowing us to get out there, and they're not letting money go in there. But who's not able to get their money out of there? I am not going to name names. You can watch Morning Joe and Mika, and they'll give you names. But I'm not going to name names on the channel. But the Russian oligarchs in the United States are now facing having their assets seized. Oh, garage sale? Who wants to go on a garage sale roast show? Let's go on a garage sale roast show. Yes, those wonderful oligarchs are getting their assets seized, so says several broadcast channels. I'm not covering that subject. Too hot for me to touch, but that is really happening. Back in the States, there's more simpler things like the ban of Russian-made vodka, which is made out of potatoes. Is, being yanked off the shelves, and I have been on social media advocating for all government properties to yank Russian-made vodka from its shelves, and of course, all sporting and bars and similar as well. Now, when we go back to your money, and look at Build Back Better Act, the big issue at hand is that State of the Union address. It's a time like this that there's a lot of things happening, and I know how people respond. You turn on the television set, you see what's on TV. Yeah, that's what's going on. COVID has been wiped off front page news because of Russia. Well, guess what? People may think that Build Back Better Act has been washed off because of Russia. It's not the case. It's going to be right on the front page as soon as that State of the Union address happens in just a few days. It may not get 30 minutes of discussion. It may only get 3 sentences, but it's back on, baby. And and Build Back Better Act will pay you money. But the great news is, why wait for it? You can get third stimulus today. Viewers are cleaning up. And did you get any thousands of dollars from this channel this week? Did you? If you didn't, get your pen and paper ready, because we're going to get some money right now. You deserve it. You stay throughout this entire video, and I'm going to show you how to get this big sums of money. And this is even if you got before. There's money for you everywhere. Pull out the newsletter if you're a member. If you're not a member, become a member. But get a pen and paper and take notes. Here's the revamped look on how to get thousands of dollars right today from Third Stimulus. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city house authority, your county hall, your county housing authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage and utility assistance because of COVID. The three musts you must do. You must reach out to all 6 places. Ask for the money. Get multiple applications on the file. And do multiple rounds. Subscribe to that membership. You can learn about it in that newsletter. It comes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Have you become a member? Do it right today. The link is under the video. Also rely on those nonprofits because, folks, they really pick up the tab when you may have problems at the city, county, state level. Get those incredible sums of money, and the average viewer of this channel has gotten $45,000. Now, let's go over some of the success stories that came in on this in the last few days. Overnight, Charles Garman was among those viewers, really ramping up his success stories. He got another $1,000 for energy assistance. He says, hey, Lalate, I got another $1,000 for energy assistance. Karen Phillips says, I lost all of my jobs. I did not know what I was going to do to pay my utilities or rent, but I contacted an organization in my area who helps with rent and utilities. I got 3 months of rent and 3 months of utilities. Lalate, you're amazing. So you need to move right now and get that money. What are you doing? Average view of this channel has gotten $45,000. That is just 2 success stories in the last 24 hours. Do it today. Now, let's go over the other success stories right before that. The day before that. Bob Bacon, you know him from his shorts. He got 3 more months of rent from his church. Then we had the incredible Brian Donahue got 5 more months of rent. The average view of this channel is getting 3 to 5 months per rent for each round. What's at issue? Third stimulus became law, spring of 2020-21. And when it became law, the viewers of this channel had already been trained, because that's what I do on this channel. I train you how to get money. I train you how to cash checks, not to track checks. And they had learned about it in 2020. So when it was coming around in the pipeline in 2021, I said, get ready. I've trained you how to do it. There's going to be a lot more of it. We're going to get our first round as soon as it becomes law. Pounce as a purple hawk was the expression I coined on this channel. And you did pounce, but you did better than I ever thought you would do. Average viewer I thought was going to get $15,000. You got $45,000. For that first round, which was January, February, March, about 3 to 5 months of rent, and then you got 3 or so utilities. You want to reach out to all utilities because of COVID. Then you got another round last spring or summer, and most viewers got that Christmas round because it's the holidays and gas bills go up and heating oil goes up. You got another round. Average viewer got about $15,000. Well, this spring, this year, I said, there's still money around. Go get it. It's everywhere. Go get it now. And no reason to wait for fourth stimulus where it's repeated again. Get it right today. And that's what viewers have been doing. And we have lots of viewers who have listened hard and tight because guess what? They got money last year and they're getting multiple rounds. So if you've had a success story, send it to me on private message, Twitter, and Instagram, and tell me which round it is. The second time you've gotten money, third round. So there was Donahue. He just got his second round. 5 months. So that's a lot. What do? If you've never done this before, you reach out to the 6 places featured in this video. If you've done it before, reach out to the same organization and then take it from there and also rely on the nonprofits. Here is Nisi. She got $30,000 or $40,000 from this channel last year. She got another $10,000. Here's Karen. She got another $40,000 in recent days as well. Over the overnight videos that you'll see tonight and the other shows tonight, later today, you can see the other success stories. Viewers getting upwards of $100,000 from third stimulus. It don't matter what the cash is. If you get cash in your hand, grab it. Make the phone call and get the incredible sums of money. Now let's look at a Build Back Better Act and the incredible money in Build Back Better Act. There's a lot of checks in there. They got the hazard pay. They got the CTC, the children's checks. They're vowing to put in the MSCs, the adult checks, including the checks for the seniors, dental, vision, and hearing, and the other household checks like the home repairs and the paid leave, the cheaper prescription medication going in there as well, and then the nutrition, students, and the cars. A lot of checks, upwards of $40,000, but let's recap because I know there's a lot in this video. First, the latest details and the big summary to wrap it up for today is 1. Continuing resolution first up on the agenda, just a few days away with $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds in there. Advocate to those legislators, pick up the phone and say, hey, spend the money on a stimulus check for us. Tell them why they should. Number 2, reach out to the president and the Social Security Administrator saying, replace COLA with inflation. What are you doing? COLA ain't working. Inflation should. Make that phone call today. That's next in line. Then CR for Stimulus 2 and 3.0 merging in the Senate. And then we're going to see that State of the Union address by Joseph Biden talking about Build Back Better Act. Guess what? It's not back page news. It's just there's a lot of stuff going on right at the moment. The domestic agenda that Joseph Biden is still happening. It's just not front page news. The big news on the international front is that the sanctions, which for some people don't understand what these sanctions are working. The Russian economy is collapsing. The value of its currency down 30%. Russia could fall from a number 11 country in global economy to top 20 by the end of this week, literally collapsing and be obsolete thereafter like a Cuba or Iran, based upon the acts of aggression. Funds have now been blocked going in and out of the country because of swift banning Russia, and Russian oligarchs are facing their assets being seized in the United States and also England. The latest details coming up tonight across the land. Negotiations continue to overseas between the two world leaders of Ukraine and Russia. Ukraine is not handing over the country to Russia, so these negotiations are, whatever they are. But the big news is that new resources are being dedicated to the battleground on Ukraine. I stand with Ukraine. Stay with this channel. The home Lalate and the home stream similar shows are now dedicated more to what's going on the ground in Russia and Ukraine. Your U.S. troops are safe. If you have family members who are stationed overseas, they are not in Ukraine. They are not in Russia. They're in NATO-based countries protecting the refugees and protecting the alliance of our peaceful endeavors. And with that, continue your positivity, continue your support, continue your advocacy, and continue to stay with Lalate. The number 3 most watched financial news channel in America, bring us to number 2. We continue to deliver you the financial news from every angle and every optic that you need to see. Stay informed, stay focused. Join me next as Afternoons Lalate continues and as we go into a big evening's Lalate tonight with shows at 5, 6, 7, and 8 o'clock, and then we go into our overnight shows. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with Lalate for more.